Welcome, pool guys and gals, to the Let's Talk About Pools podcast, where your host, Lauren Broom, will take a splash into many topics in the pool industry to educate all aquatic professionals. Listen in, and you just might be surprised what you'll learn. So let's jump right in.
Welcome, everybody, today to the Let's Talk About Pools podcast. And today on episode 23, I interviewed Sai Reddy, who's the owner of Camereye. And we're going to talk about artificial intelligence, or AI technology, and how it fits in with the layers of protection for drowning prevention. So enjoy listening in. Even pool builders and pool service can enjoy this episode because this may be a product that you can sell to your customers to encourage them to make their pools more safe for their family. So listen in, and thank you, Camereye, for also being the sponsor of the Let's Talk About Pools podcast episode today. And they will be at the International Pool Spa and Patio Show in Dallas, Texas next month. Go visit them at their booth. Enjoy, everybody.
Hi. Don't lose peace of mind over the safety of your beautiful pool. Introducing Camereye, the fastest artificial intelligent pool safety system. Camereye uses artificial intelligence to create a virtual smart fence around your pool to help save lives. Monitor your pool 24/7 from your home or anywhere on your phone. Camereye detects when someone crosses the AI smart fence through overhead cameras. If there is distress or near drowning behavior in the pool, alerts and alarms notify you through the Smart Hub, siren, phone, and app within 10 seconds. Affordable and easy to install. Keep a Camereye on your pool for 24/7 peace of mind. To learn more, visit www.camereye.ai.
Welcome, everybody, today to the Let's Talk About Pools podcast. And on my episode today, my guest is Dr. Sai Reddy, who's the CEO of Camereye. Welcome, Sai. How are you?
Hey, Lauren. Thanks for having me. I'm pretty good. Thanks.
I'm so excited to have you on. You're going to be part of my summer series on layers of protection with the series on childhood drowning and prevention. So I really am excited to have you on here. Technology is awesome, and using technology to keep people safe is exactly what I want to highlight here and educate the people listening on the podcast today. So tell us a little bit about you and Camereye.
Yeah, thanks, Lauren. Like you said, my name is Sai Reddy. I'm a pool person. I've always been a pool person. I love water. So the first thing that strikes to me is anything that has to do with water. I have been a lifelong swimmer. I've been a college swimmer. I live in San Diego, so I am always in the ocean. I sail, I surf. So I have this natural attraction towards water. My background is I'm also a tech guy, which helps. My background is in artificial intelligence. I have a doctorate in AI from UC San Diego. So my natural passion towards water, along with my background in tech and AI, brought me to solve the biggest underlying issue in water recreation, which is safety. So that's what we exactly do at Camereye. We work on artificial intelligence software that helps increase peace of mind and safety in residential swimming pools.
Awesome. That's exactly what I want to bring to the podcast today. I'm so glad to have you on today. So can you give us your perspective on the issues of pool safety?
Yeah, definitely. As a lot of people know, drowning is really one of the biggest causes of tragic accidents, especially for kids 1 to 4. As per CDC, drowning is the number one cause of deaths for kids 1 to 4. You'd be surprised to hear this, but there are more than 230,000 annual drowning-related accidents worldwide. And with COVID, since 2020, the numbers have increased by 15%. Of course, It makes sense. A lot of people stay home. They're really busy at work, at home. So kids staying home. So, there's always that thing happening in backyard pools and also rivers and oceans. And unfortunately, drowning deaths have tripled in some states in 2020 compared to 2018 and 2019. And what's really sad about this is in most of these accidents, a lot of those cases get hospitalized. And this is super drastic for kids under 5. One of the people that we very closely work with here in California, we work with Jasper Ray Foundation, and there's we work with Julie Lopicolo, who runs Jasper Ray Foundation. So Jasper Ray Foundation started with the story of Jasper, who was a 2-year-old kid who drowned in their backyard pool. Jasper, unfortunately, did not reach his second birthday because of this 100% preventable tragedy. Julie received a phone call that no mother should ever receive, saying that Jasper had been admitted in the hospital. Julie's babysitter, who was supposed to take care of Jasper one day a week, took Jasper to her home, which had a swimming pool without a fence. And she got distracted, and by the time she came back, she found Jasper lie face down in the pool. He spent nearly a week in the hospital fighting for his life, but unfortunately he lost the battle. He had severe brain damage that happened in minutes because of he got deprived of oxygen.
Mm-hmm.
So that's Jasper's story, which is very, very unfortunate. And there are so many stories that come out every month, all over the country. And again, not all drowning cases are fatal. Even if people survive a swimming pool accident or any drowning related accident, an estimated 20% of them suffer permanent neurological disability. More than 98% of pool drownings occur at homes, so backyard pools. And again, we're lucky that fortunately drowning is preventable in many ways.
Totally agree. It's more about people knowing and being cognizant, watching their kids, and using what a lot of people call layers of protection.
Exactly.
Which you're going to fall into one of these layers of protection using technology that exists for these residential homes. And if the listeners aren't aware of its existence, then it can't be used. So that's the whole goal of my podcast episodes this summer, is to try to bring awareness and education on this topic, because childhood drowning and prevention is talked about, but somehow it's just not talked about enough, like we do with infant seats in cars. Everybody thinks about that.
Yeah.
So what are the needs of the pool industry to improve safety?
This is a very interesting question, because for every problem there are different approaches to tackle this problem. People talk about a stick and a carrot approach. So one way to look at it is regulatory legislations. For example, we're in California here. We have AB 768 that, this is a regulation that amends education code by adding new sections that require development of aquatic pool safety program. And this applies to public pools and also residential pools. There's SB 442 in California that got passed in 2018, and Julie Lopicolo, who I just talked about, Jasper Ray Foundation, was one of the leading persons of this particular bill. So what SB 442 does is it requires residential pool owners to have at least 2 out of 7 different barriers for pool safety. And again, we can get into what are these 7 different types later. So that's SB 442. In Florida, you have HB 703. It's a House bill that amends current law, expanding safety requirements for residential pools. And this is done in order to pass a final inspection and receive a certificate of completion by the home inspector. And by the way, this measure is not in effect. It's going to it would take into effect from October 1st, 2021. Current law in Florida requires residential pools to meet at least 1 out of the following requirements. You need to have at least an isolation barrier around the pool, and the isolation barrier must meet the Florida code. Pool must be equipped with an approved safety cover. It's a safety pool cover. All windows and doors that have direct access to the pool from the home should have an exit alarm with particular pressure requirements and ratings. All doors must be equipped with self-latching and self-closing release mechanism. There should be an ASTM approved swimming pool alarm that has to be placed looking into the pool and would sound an alarm when there's unauthorized entry. And then there are different ASTM approved residential pool alarms that homeowners should have. So that's HB 703 in Florida, and there's also SB 960 in Florida. This is Senate bill, which is going to take effect from July 1st, 2021. And this requires swimming pools at residences with young children. This is focused for young kids residing at residence must have a barrier in place at all time when the pool is not being used or cleaned. So this is SB 960. And also Texas has HB 67. Every state has their own bill. And we're working on a national water safety action plan that comes with recommendations on water safety that would be applicable to all states in the United States. So that's what we've been looking at from a regulatory standpoint, and then what really boils down to is awareness, drowning awareness and education. So we always talk about ABC of water safety. A is adult supervision, B is barriers, and C is CPR lessons. What I'm gonna at least focus on today's podcast is that B, the barrier topic, because barriers is all about layers of safety. It is making sure that I talked about all these different 6 or 7 different layers that these legislations require you to have. Fences, you can have pool covers, you can have alarms, and so on and so forth. So it's all about creating these layers so that people are informed at all times what's happening in their pool. For example, if a kid surpasses the physical barrier, for example, a gate or a fence, you still need to you need to have a second line of defense to know what's happening so that you can take immediate action. So an alarm would make sense in that case. So really, it's about barriers of safety, and what we bring onto the table is bringing artificial intelligence as a layer of safety. A lot of people are getting super familiar with this concept of artificial intelligence. Self-driving cars. People talk about autopilots in airplanes. So these are all different versions of AI or artificial intelligence. What we are looking at is bringing artificial intelligence on to try and detect early stages or behavior of distress when a person or kid falls in the pool and starts to get into this distress activity. So that's exactly what Camereye does.
Awesome. So how are you helping with the needs that you talked about and rolling that into is what led you to creating Camereye?
Yeah, so this dates back probably 3 years ago when I first attended NDPA. This is before we started Camereye. NDPA is National Drowning Prevention Alliance. They are a national group that collectively support drowning prevention, and they try to bring education to every organization and every individual in the U.S. Associated with water. So I attended NDPA a couple of years ago, and I met amazing people who have spent years and years trying to bring this notion of water safety, this education piece, into everybody. And one of the things that during the interactions, one of the things that I really found missing was new technology that is getting introduced in this space. Of course, there's new barriers, new latch mechanisms, new safety covers. You look at these new companies that are doing automatic pool covers. They're really cool and fancy. They're also really safe and approved for safety. But what was missing was how can users stay connected? How can me as a dad always know what my kid is doing, especially when it comes to water safety in my backyard pool? So that was the connection piece that I thought was missing in a lot of these these new efforts that are being brought in by different groups. So that was our first involvement with NDPA, and we've always stayed connected with NDPA. What I do, part of Camereye is I'm part of the U.S. Water National Safety Plan that and this group has, I would say, over 100 individuals from different states, and with different experiences. Like they're pool instructors, they're pool lifeguards, they're physicians, they're doctors, they're companies doing these safety pool covers, companies doing fences, companies doing new tech like us, and so on and so forth. And we're collectively working on the national safety plan that's going to come out sometime next year. So that's something that we're really, excited and, working hard towards. And I'm also part of the ASTM, American Standard for Testing Materials Committee. And what we do as part of this committee is, by the way, the committee is F15, which is targeted for consumer products. We look at the new technology and how this new technology should be used in backyard pools. Again, this is residential pools or backyard pool focused. And we approve standards as part of ASTM committee to make sure that any products that come out with this new technology has to pass those minimum requirements or standards in order to get an ASTM certification. So those are some groups that Camereye is part of.
Nice. And the National Water Safety Plan that you're a part of, is that going to be similar to like the Model Aquatic Health Code, where it's something that you're drafting that states or organizations can kind of adopt and use, and it's already written for them, and then they can just fill in state or local specific items into it?
Funny you brought that up, because when we were first introduced to this group, the group admins gave us this example of MAC, a Model Health Aquatic Code, and said this is kind of similar to that. But I believe, again, I'm not very, very familiar with Model Aquatic Code, Health Aquatic Code, but I believe that's more for public pools.
Mm-hmm.
So this is pretty similar to that, but this is targeted for residential pools, and it's also targeted for some other water bodies.
Yeah. It's going to be a document or whatever that's already written, ready to go, so that somebody doesn't have to go, how do I write a water safety plan?
Exactly.
It'll be something that's already written for you by, you said, 100 different people or so involved with writing it, so that you have varying people in the industry involved in writing it, so that you get the best plan possible.
Exactly.
Which sounds awesome. So how is the technology and AI helping to improve pool safety?
Yeah, so maybe I want to take a little bit of time to explain exactly what the system looks like as a user. So Camereye has different components to it. We use the camera technology to look at what's happening in the pool. So the camera gets installed above water. It's not an underwater camera. It's an overhead camera that gets installed pretty much like your home camera, security camera, like your Nest camera or your SimpliSafe camera. And what this camera does is it always streams and looks into the pool at all times, be it night, day, or any time of the day. We have IR, infrared night vision, which means the camera can sense very clearly what's happening at night also.
Wow.
So the camera streams what's happening, and the user has this little smart hub, is what we call it. And it looks pretty much like, I don't know if you have used Google or Alexa devices that kind of sit in your living room or your office, and you speak to them, and you know what's happening, and they kind of communicate with you if there's someone entering your home, and so on and so forth. So our smart hub is very similar to Google's or Alexa's. The smart hub constantly communicates with the camera internally using wireless network, and the smart hub evaluates if there's any entry in the pool in the smart fence. So again, I'm introducing this concept of smart fence, where you really look at it as a fence, as a real fence, but it's not really a real fence. It's a virtual or a smart fence that you can draw on your app. So you download the app and you draw it on the app around your pool. So anytime you have a visitor that you're not expecting inside the smart fence, you get alerted on your phone and also on the smart hub. So imagine you're sitting at your home and you're working you're busy or doing a podcast, your smart hub tells you that there's someone in the pool, and also your phone goes off. So that's one very, very important feature of Camereye. And of course, there's the next layer. Again, we talked about layers of safety. So really, building these layers into this product as well. The next layer is if someone walks into the pool, especially a kid, and they fall in the pool and they have early stages of distress. So, of course, when you say drowning, there are different stages of drowning. There's active drowning, there's passive drowning. Even within active or passive drowning, you go through different stages. So what Camera is really looking into is that early stages of distress when someone falls in the pool. This is way before this even start drowning, actively drowning. So when a true distress event happens, the cameras again stream to the smart hub. The smart hubs throw loud sirens, 100 decibels. It's really annoying. It's pretty much like your fire alarm. So anybody would know that it
gets their attention.
Yeah.
Which
and
really
also on your phone, you get critical alerts. So we have this feature called critical alerts, where regardless if you silence your phone, like let's say you're an Apple iPhone user, you put your phone in silence mode, you would still get loud alarms because you bypass the Apple phone settings. So you get loud alarms on your phone, and you click on what's happening, and you click on that alarm, and it directly takes you to the live stream of your pool. So you know right away what's happening. So that's kind of an overview of what Camereye is. So it's really easy to use, easy to install. All it takes is putting that little camera, installing the camera, putting power to the camera, and taking the smart hub and just powering the smart hub at your home, inside your home, and downloading the app. So really, we call it 3 different steps. Install the camera, plug in the smart hub, and download the app, and draw the smartphones, obviously.
Does it work on like motion detection involved with it, kind of like Ring doorbells kind of do, and you get,
Yeah, great question. So that's exactly where we differentiate from existing technology. What motion technology products do today is they sense motion through, passive infrared signals. So they kind of shoot an infrared signal, and if there's any movement, they say, hey, there's motion. The problem with that is it's not really ideal for backyard applications, because think about it, in your pool, you have a ton of pool toys, you have leaves flying around, you have birds flying around. You don't want to get notified constantly what's happening in your pool, because at a point you just start ignoring those alerts. Mm-hmm. So that's where we are completely different. What our technology does is we only sense humans. So the whole notion of sensing is different in the case that we actually use the feed of the camera, not just sensing or different sensors on the camera to see motion. So we only sense if it's a person. So it could be a toddler, it could be a kid, it could be an adult, anybody. Anytime there's a person that qualifies an AI person model, which is really, really robust and well trained, that in that scenario, you're going to get an alert saying a person entered the backyard, not a pool toy, not a leaf, not a bird,
not a bug.
Yeah, and we are working to introduce pets. So we're planning to release pets as a feature in the summer, but right now we're only focused on people, infants, toddlers, anybody, any human. Wow, so that's where the primary distinction.
That'll be cool when you add like the animals, the dogs, and maybe a cat or something that falls into the pool. That'll be kind of neat. That'll be new.
There's this really cool article, Lauren. I would advise viewers or listeners to check it out. It's from New York Times. It talks about, so the title of the article goes, "Is your dog water safe?" So that's the title of your article, because there's this gray area of whether or not pets can swim or not, like especially dogs can swim or not. So that article nicely talks about how different dogs have this ability to swim. It also depends on the breeds. I'm not going to spoil it for you. You should go check it out. It's super duper interesting if you're a pet lover and if you own a pool.
Awesome. So we talked about how the AI smart fence works, and you talked about how the distress detection works. So
I would like to maybe emphasize a little bit more on the smart fence, because it's really like having your fence, but it's not a real fence. It's a virtual or a smart fence that you have on your app. So you kind of draw on the app around your pool. It doesn't have to be perfectly around your pool. You might want to have a little bit more area so that you might want to get alerted before they actually fall in the pool. And again, anytime the human crosses the smart fence, you'd get alerted on your phone. So yeah, that's exactly what the smart fence is. And we are the first company with the first product to bring this notion of smart fence for safety. I'm sure you heard about virtual fences for dogs. They kind of track the GPS coordinates, and once a dog is outside the virtual fence, it kind of zaps the dog. But that's ours is not that concept. Ours is just getting alerted on your phone.
nice. So what value are you going to bring to the pool service tech and their customers?
Yeah. So like I said, our mission for Camereye is to make the world a safer place and help save lives by really reinventing this pool safety using advanced AI, artificial intelligence solutions. We strive to bring peace of mind to every consumer who has a pool, and also help reduce the risk by having these different layers of safety. What we really bring onto the table, like I said, is better safety detection, faster alerts, because we're not looking for a person to become motionless and go underwater. We're detecting very, very early stages of distress, so faster alerts. Very, very few false alarms, because we're not a motion detection system. We are a true human detection system, so very, very few false alarms. You might ask, why do I talk about few false alarms? You can take a nice photo in front of the camera of a human, and it may trigger an alert because it's still a human, although it's in a photo. So AI is not as smart as real people to differentiate a person real time versus a person in a photo. So maybe that's why we don't call 100% or no false alarm. We say very, very few false alarms. And quicker, like I said, quicker response and really peace of mind. So what we're really bringing to the community here, especially when we talk about service techs, is we're really giving them tools to offer to their consumers. Because when someone owns a pool and they have young kids, or even like in Jasper's story, you have grandkids, you have your neighbors who are kids.
Yep.
You never know that anyone can enter your home or your pool, and so there's always that fear of safety and liability in your pool if you have a pool. So we're really offering different tools for service pros or service techs to offer to the consumers, so that they don't treat the pool as a liability, but rather they treat the pool as a source of pride. That's exactly how we want it to be.
Yes. And trying to keep it safe, because the last thing you want is a drowning or a child die because you didn't take it seriously in your backyard.
Yeah.
So on a final note, what do you want service techs to know and do about pool safety? Since this is the summer drowning series, prevention series, let's end with a nice little ending here for them.
So, June 15th was the day I was always looking forward to, because that's officially the summer start here, at least here in California. So yeah, summer is almost here. And actually, it's been a week now that summer's here, and I'm actually loving the weather here. Like I always do in San Diego. So the thing with this is, also with COVID, there have been a lot of people who have been confined to their homes. I know the restrictions are easing, but it's not fully there yet. And a lot of people are super impatient to laugh, splash, and play with their family in their pools. Now that a lot of people have gotten new pools, because pool construction was one of the big things in 2020.
Up. The pool builders are saying, I can't build your pool for you, or they're like a year and a half to 2 year wait list. So that's telling us anything about, and it's mostly residential and not public pools.
Exactly.
There's always way more residential.
Exactly.
So everybody putting pools in their backyard, and more people have equity in their house, which they pull out and build a pool, even on an existing house. It's not new houses just being built. So now you get into, this is why this whole parents and all of us being more cognizant of drowning, childhood drowning prevention. And that's why I really wanted to bring this series out. Was this is the perfect time, with it being summer and swim season all the way through September. And then also, we have more people swimming in their backyards now.
Exactly.
Than we ever had before.
We have a lot of customers, Lauren, who bought Camereye and who are looking forward for the pool opening on the July 4th day. So a lot of pools, I guess, they're opening on the 4th, so first week of July. So yeah, everybody's super eager, but they also have expressed, they have strong concerns about safety for a good reason. So as a service tech, you have a unique opportunity, even maybe a responsibility, to inform all the pool owners you work with about best methods to keep people safe, pool safe. So it's really important for, as a pool service tech or pool pro, to know about the latest technology that helps bring safety to pools. And again, today a lot of people have smartphones, which helps. Everybody has good Wi-Fi at their homes, because almost everything was virtual for 2020, and is also partly virtual in 2021. So having a good automation system, and I'm sure as a pool service tech, you work with a lot of IoT systems like Pentair, Hayward, Fluidra, which almost every IoT system, like a pool pump or pool heating device, they all involve at some point adding your Wi-Fi or adding your smartphone or an app. So it's not really a leap, a jump from where you're today to what we're doing for safety. It's really a nice smooth transition of adapting safety to things that you're already doing. So yeah, you should really consider talking about smart technology to your homes, to your customers, and yeah, really advise them. Give them different options. That really bring fast, really target fast detection and reliability. Something that they can always connect, open the app, and see what's happening. Always stay connected. Have very few false alarms, because as you have more and more false alarms, you start ignoring the system. So that's something very important to point out.
Well, and people that are some of the listeners that they're pool builders and that kind of thing, you could take an active, don't think about it as just making money. I mean, you can make money off of installing something if you sell this to the customer, which I know they want. You got to have revenue, but at the same time as making money, they're also making that pool safer. So when they're done building it and they know it's going to be for a young family with young kids, they know they walked away and potentially made that pool safer than it would have been without having these layers of protection.
Exactly.
And having technology like this added on. And they could probably add this into their package when they're building, building the pool, talk about the options and make sure parents are aware about childhood drowning when it comes to their pool, that they're now having this pool builder. So I have a lot of pool builders probably listen to the podcast as well. So it is something that they could actually sell to the private pool owners.
So yeah, that's a great point. So we are onboarding a lot of dealers. So we're dealer direct. So when I say dealers, it's mainly pool builders, pool service techs, who really service pools and interact with customers day to day. And also some pool builder retail shops. We've had I would say over 25 dealers from different states. I think over 13 states now who are already working with us. And we are planning to ramp this onboarding dealer program or the summer. So really, a shout out to all the dealers out there, people involved with pools, like builders and service techs, to come check us out, www.camereye.ai, and ask questions. And we have a dealer sign up portal where you can go enter details and become a dealer. We approve dealer applications in less than a day. And then they get dealer discounts, dealer wholesale prices, and then they can, there's this really good opportunity to install the system, which is really installing the camera and making those margins with their customers. So
I mean, they make the nice thing about something like this is you're selling something, get some revenue, but it's not just that. You're walking away and potentially saving a child that may drown from drowning because of the technology, So you don't always install pool equipment that you feel that way about, it's a lot more of a passion behind it to save a life than installing a pool heater or something like that. Pool heater is going to make people happy, have a nice hot spa or a warm pool water, when it's cold out. But is cold water really going to kill anybody? No, but childhood drowning does. So that exactly. I just think that is a good way for pool builders and pool contractors to think about the technology is if they feel like it's just money and it's more money for the homeowner, got to walk away and think it's the safety of it as well for that family when you leave.
It's definitely safety and making sure, your customers who are the pool owners have peace of mind because, they cannot really enjoy their pool without having the peace of mind over their pool. Yeah. So that's definitely something I'd like to end with, Lauren.
So just to end here, how can the listeners get a hold of you? I know you mentioned the website. Let's just say it at the end again here so everybody can hear how they can get a hold of you on the web. If there's a phone number they can call, if they don't like, going online and doing all that.
Totally. So like I said, our website is www.camereye.ai. Like how there was a .com boom in early 2000s, we are establishing a .ai boom, and we are very proud that we're doing it for safety and peace of mind. The phone number, we have a 1-800 number, 1-800-906-2810. That's the phone number, and our agents will answer the call and will onboard you as a dealer anytime we get a phone call from you. Or you can also email us at info at Camereye, CAMEREYE.ai. info@camereye.ai. So different ways to reach out to us.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Reddy, being on here today. It was very exciting to talk about a new piece of technology that I didn't even know existed until Michelle contacted me. So
thanks, Lauren. Thanks for having
so much today. You have a wonderful day.
You too. Bye.
Thanks for diving in today with the Let's Talk About Pools podcast. Be sure to follow us on our YouTube channel or our Facebook page. And feel free to rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts so more aquatic professionals like you can learn about the show. We appreciate it, and we'll catch you in the next episode of the Let's Talk About Pools podcast.